All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to look at hydrate salts. We're going to deal with copper 2 sulfate pentahydrate. So this is copper 2 sulfate, but in it there's actually some water that's bound to those copper sulfate molecules. They're called hydrates, water crystallization or hydrates. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to prove that that is actually what it is. We're going to drive off that water through heating it, and then we're going to test it at the end. So first of all, we need to weigh out about 4 grams of this material. So we're going to start with that. All right, so in order to weigh this out, first thing we need to do is we need to turn on our scales. And then once it's done its initialization, then we're just going to zero it. And then we're ready to use. We're going to put this on a piece of folded paper so we can get it into the ignition tube is what we're going to use. Notice that this material is toxic, so I'm wearing gloves. Definitely a wise thing to do, and if you get it on the gloves, you should replace them. So we're going to weigh out about 4 grams or so of this material. So I'm just going to zero this filter paper. We're going to use this for our measuring, and then we're going to just weigh out about 4 grams of material. Try and be just a little careful with this. All right, that's pretty good. It's close enough. We're going to put the lid back on. It's always a good habit to make sure you put lids back on containers, so if they get knocked over, which that definitely happens, you don't cause a great spill. So if you want to make a note of that mass reading, you can. That's how much we're starting with here. It's always a good habit to note down these readings. If you're not sure you're not going to use it or not, just keep a measurement. Now we need to put this into an ignition tube. So we're going to take this over to our setup, and we're going to work on that next. So we need our setup to be able to drive this water off. So we're just going to set up a simple clamp stand here. So we have the stand and the clamp. We're going to have one tube is going to be at an angle here. And these are ignition tubes. Notice these are much bigger than regular test tubes. They're thicker glass walls, which means that you can use them for heating. This system is actually going to be tilted downwards once we get to that point. But for the moment, I'm just going to leave it like that. The other ignition tube is just going to sit very nicely inside one of these Erlenmeyers. And typical setup for this, we're just going to have this a little higher. We're going to have it just a very slight angle. What we want to be able to do is we want to be able to drive the water off, but not have our material come out of the stand itself. So now we've got that in about the position we want. I'm just going to unclamp this one, and we're going to use that for our material. So the other thing we need to do here is we need to get this material at the bottom of our test tube. Now you can do it by using a piece of fluted paper, where you just make like a little trough with it, or you can use a scrupula if you have one that's the right size. And all we're doing is like just carefully putting it inside that scrupula. If your test tube is dry, you can usually just add this directly. And we lost a little bit on transfer there, but the experiment will still work just fine. So this way we can slide it all the way down in, and then we can just tilt it down. That way we don't get a lot stuck to the sides of the ignition tube itself. So we want to try not to do this too quickly, because what we want to be able to do is have our material stay in the tube as it gets heated. But we want it pointing down, so if we create some liquid water, that liquid water will in fact drip down into the collection vessel. We're just going to clean this up a little bit here. All right, we'll take care of that in a moment. All right, so now we're basically set up to run this dehydration, as it were. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the gas for we're going to make sure the slit is closed at the bottom. I'm going to grab our flint, turn the gas on, and then we're just going to light it. Now, when we heat this, we don't want to put this under like really high heat. That would be very easy to do. If we do that, we can find that we can burn this. So when we heat this copper sulfate, what we're going to do is we're just going to gently warm it at first, and you should see it change color a little bit. It should go like a color's color. If you see it going black, then you're overheating it and you should ease up a little bit. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to carefully start heating this. We're going to do it by hand, so this is not something we do very often, but we're just going to very carefully just warm around this tube and see if we can drive off some of that water. As the water forms, what you might see is some condensation down the tube here, because the glass tube itself is kind of cool, so the hot water comes off and just condenses on the inside of the test tube. Kind of like you would see, you know, in a cold winter's day when the water condenses on a window or something like that, or the outside of an ice drink. Notice how it's starting to turn a little bit white on the end here. So that's what we expect to see as the water gets driven off. So we're just going to carefully do this for a little while, and you'll hopefully see as the material heats up, you'll start to see that happening to more of those blue crystals. So you can see here the condensation of the water that's being driven off. So we're not going to worry about that too much, but if we wanted to very just gently warm the tube, that'll help drive that down the tube. But try not to heat the rubber clamps, because those will melt with this kind of heat. So we're just going to keep driving this off for a little while. Alright, so not a particularly exciting, but you can kind of see a little bit of bubbling in there. We'll try and drive off that water a little bit. You can see it condensing further down. I'm going to try and catch that if we can. So it's starting to like burn just a little bit on the outside here, so we're not going to heat it too much there. Once you get above about 600 degrees, the copper sulfate itself starts decomposing into other materials, so we're trying to avoid that. But you can see, I'm heating it further down, you can see that water that's starting to actually collect further down the tube. We'll just try driving that down the tube just a little bit. We want to try and collect it, so we don't want to heat the tube the whole way down. We would like to see some of that condensation actually collect into the other vessel. But you can see that a clear change from that blue copper sulfate hydrate that we had at the beginning into this white system right here. Notice how I'm not putting the tip of the blue flame right on the glass because I'm trying not to superheat this. We can see there's a little bit of charring right here, so some of our copper sulfate has decomposed a little bit, so I'm trying not to do that too much. It's very easy to overheat this system as you do this. But clearly there's a gas being given off, and that is undoubtedly steam. We're just trying to heat this as much as we can. So we're going to come back in just a couple of minutes. Alright, so what you should be doing while you're going through this experiment here is you should be writing down your observations. What changes do you observe occurring during the reaction? What did you start with? What was the color of the solid? What did it look like? Was it crystalline? Was it a powder? So in chemistry, one of the most important things is making sure that you're writing down all your observations. So when we started, what did that copper sulfate pentahydrate, the hydrate of copper sulfate, what did that actually look like to you? You should probably make a note of that in your observations. Then as we start heating it, what observations do you see? Does the color change? Does the does the morphology of the crystals change? Was it crystalline? Is it powder? Is it kind of like an amorphous lump or solid? These are the kinds of observations you should be writing down because those are important when you're doing real research chemistry. And also, do you see other things given off? So clearly in this experiment, we can see all this water being driven off. It's on the sides of the test tube. It's condensed on there. And it's actually collecting, if you look very closely over here at the lip of the test tube, sorry, the ignition tube, you see it's collecting. It's got a blue hint to it, so I think maybe a little crystal of copper sulfate was a little further up the tube and just kind of got washed down with the liquid, unfortunately. But the purpose of this is for you to see that as you go through this, you see a very real change in the material, and you see a secondary component being driven off in this case. Most likely going to be water, and we'll prove that later on. So you can see it dripping in the tube now. And we're just about done here, I think. Majority of this system has now been converted into sort of the anhydrous version, or the version of copper sulfate that has no water in it. And we've collected some of that in our test tube so we can test it. So we're going to turn this off now. We're going to let everything cool down a little bit. Actually, we're going to try maybe a little bit more water off up here. And we're going to try and do it without melting. Those arms, because we'd like to drive off as much of that water as possible so that when we go to get our copper sulfate out of this ignition tube in a few minutes, we can do so without getting it wet from the sides of the container. So try to avoid hitting those arms when you do this. Sometimes it's not easy to do. You can see that condensation, or the condensate that we created there, is indeed evaporating away. So I'm just going to do the very top, but you can't see very well there. And I think we can finish collecting that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to turn this. Let's turn our flame down. It's the safest thing to do. We're going to turn this a little bit, and with a pair of tongs, we're going to carefully move our ignition tube upwards so that we can warm away the last part of that water so our test tube is nice and dry when we rescue our anhydrous material. So we can heat this a little more vigorously because it's just the water we're driving off. And you can see it evaporating as I do this. And this is the reason we use the ignition tubes. They're thicker, they're stronger, they can withstand the heat a lot better than a simple test tube or sample tube. And then we can just make sure the bottom is dry too, and we'll just warm the whole vessel. So we're going to give that a minute or two to cool down. We're going to turn off our flame because we don't need that anymore. And we'll be back in just a moment. Alright, so we've let the tube cool down now. So what we're going to see here, we're just going to break it up a little bit. And you can see that what was the copper sulfate hydrate is a very different material now, very different color. And again, you should be making a note of that observation as to what color it is. We're going to bring it over to the scale so you can see there a much better idea of what this material is. We're going to weigh and see how much of this stuff is remaining. So this should give you a good idea of what the material looks like now. We're actually going to weigh and see how much stuff we have remaining. So we're going to use the simple watch glass here. We're going to zero our balance. Remember, we started with around 4 grams. So we're not going to get everything out here. There's going to be a little bit of loss in here, but this should give us an idea of how much material we have remaining out of that 4 grams, just to give you a sense of how much water we lost during this experiment. So clearly there's a little trace left in here, but you can see that's obviously nowhere near 4 grams. So we clearly had something driven off during this experiment. And you can now look at that and you can get a better sense of the color and the texture of the remaining material after we've heated it. So we're going to take this and we're actually going to split it across 2 watch glasses, and then we're going to do a couple little tests with it just so we can see and prove what we've actually driven off here. So we're going to move back to the side of the bench. So on the watch glass now you can see that's pretty white. There's a slight hue to it. You can make a note of that. We have 2 watch glasses, and we're simply going to split this material across the 2 watch glasses. Just approximately evenly. It's not too critical what we do here. So we got 2 approximately equal amounts of our final material. And what we're going to do is to one of them we're going to just add a few drops of distilled water. So we're going to do that with the one on the left. So this is just straight deionized water, sorry, not distilled water. And if you watch that, look at the color that we get from that after we add that. So while it may not have the exact same morphology or like overall look and feel to the crystals or powder, you can see clearly that what was white is no longer white. Right? So you need to sort of make these observations. So we add water to this. We go back roughly to what we started with. Now we also have a little bit of liquid that we collected. Now we've been saying it's water this whole time. So here's the ignition tube that had the collected material, and we're just going to pour that to the other side, and we're going to see if it looks the same or not, so we can make a deduction as to whether it is actually water or not. When that adds, you can now look at those 2 dishes. So on the one side over here we added deionized water, and to the other side we added the condensate that we collected in the other ignition tube. And you can clearly see from that that these are the same materials, so we can make a deduction as to what it was that we drove off the reaction. And you should make a note of that in your data tables.